What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to episode number 734 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the city of Vineland. It's KB coming at you from Underground Studios and joining me like he does on every Thursday show with the people via Bloomington, Indiana. The man, the myth, the legend, HK Harrison Kremens.
What is up, everybody? We're about to have a fun-ass episode here, and it's been tax week. It's WrestleMania week. The Phillies are playing the Giants. A lot of good stuff to talk about.
It is a loaded show. We're going to talk this Phillies-Giants series. We are recording. It is going to the top of the seventh inning right now at Citizens Bank Park here on Wednesday. Giants are leading 7-4. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on in that game as it progresses. And we will also preview Thursday's game, get you set for the weekend series. Your boy will be at the bank with my sister Sarah on Sunday to watch these boys rise balls from caves, just like our Lord and Savior once did, allegedly rising from a cave on the third day. We will be watching baseballs rise to the third deck, hopefully. But the funny part is if you know me, I am not religious whatsoever. So I was just trying to make a very funny Easter joke. Waka waka. Back to the show. We'll talk that. We'll talk about Jalen Hurts being the man, the myth, the legend that he is, getting named to Time Magazine's top 100 influential human beings. What a legend he is. And then Harrison's going to preview WrestleMania weekend for us, as our good pal Pat Pitts is boots on the ground out there in Vegas, and I hope he just gets back safely.
Yes.
That's all I can hope for. So yeah, we're going to dive into all that. Make sure you guys are following us, though, on the socials at Underground PHI. Across the board, we're on every social platform. Keep on following us. We got some fun stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks and just throughout the rest of the year that you don't want to miss out on. So follow us on the socials at Underground PHI. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod. I'm going to say it one more time for good measure. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. Goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps every show on our network continue to grow, and gets more ears and eyes on Underground Sports Philadelphia. So keep on subscribing and keep leaving those 5-star reviews, and subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That is where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. That is where it all lives on our YouTube channel. We are at 1,052 subscribers, which means we are 48 subscribers away from our next 100 subscriber milestone. And I did say, Harrison, on our NCAA championship live stream, that if we get to 1,500 subscribers, I will do the Foco Brixels live stream extravaganza building Lincoln Financial Field. So you get us to 1,500, we start doing that, and in the next couple of weeks, I will embark on my 1,000 subscriber guarantee that I will be starting season 1 of Game of Thrones. So
yes, good.
No, it is the stupidest time for me to start a new show when we have every goddamn show under the sun going on right now that we'll be breaking down on Streamer Season, from Daredevil Born Again just ending to The Last of Us Season 2 just starting to, next week Andor Season 2 starts as well. But I'm just going to throw myself into the fucking gauntlet and start watching Game of Thrones as well. Big Dumb Dipshit Award right here. The Big Dumb Dipshit. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube. And of course, guys, this show is proudly presented by the City of Vineland. And the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar features city-organized, city-sponsored, and city-affiliated events that are of public interest. The calendar, which is accessible at VinelandCity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the City of Vineland on social media via their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. And through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast.
I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci. If you're looking for the right location, think Vineland, New Jersey. Our pro-business approach is supported by financial incentives, workforce development programs, and other resources which can give your business a competitive edge. Whether you're starting a new business or expanding to new markets, our business environment, infrastructure, accessibility, and quality of life make Vineland an ideal location. More information about how we can help your business grow can be found at vinelandcity.org. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Philadelphia sports fans alike, welcome into the show. The Phillies have some issues, man. And I know it's early. It's still early, and I am one of those people that, like, hey, it's April, and JT Realmuto literally said last night, being Tuesday after the Phillies won, that he's told Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh that the best season of his career, statistics-wise, was also featuring the worst April and May he ever had in his life. So it is a long season. It is still very early, but I am growing quickly concerned with the offensive approach from a lot of guys. I am growing quickly concerned with a lot of this bullpen. And that, to me, is a much bigger issue than some of the hitting. And the crazy part is, Harrison, is that they are slumping and not playing at their best, and they're still, like, right at the top of the division.
Yeah, and as you know, we said earlier, you cannot judge a team based off of April and May, especially not in baseball. But they need to get their shit figured out, and they need to get that figured out fast, or else we are in for a long season. Thankfully, the rest of the teams in the NL East are not playing well at all. The Braves look like garbage. The Marlins are the Marlins. And, you know, I think the Nationals and the Mets are going to be two of our biggest competition this season. But we got to pick it up. The bats need to come back alive. Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh have to figure it out. The only bright spots as of right now are the starting pitching, Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos for me. And Bryce Harper's always there, but Nick Castellanos has been phenomenal so far this season. I don't have enough good things to say about him so far.
So Brandon Marsh is 0 for his last 30 after tonight.
Jesus.
Does not have a hit in the month of April.
Oh my God.
Alec Bohm got screwed by the ump tonight in one of his at-bats. Did have an RBI single in Tuesday's game. Hopefully he's starting to figure some things out. It feels like they have discovered something in Max Kepler's batting stance that has led to his struggles early on. But here's my thing, Harrison, that I am taking issue with in tonight's game, that the Phillies are now trailing 8-4. Runners are on the corners, and the first out has just been recorded here. Here's my thing with the lineup tonight. So Kyle Schwarber's in left field. Max Kepler got the night off. Fine. You know, we've seen Schwarber play left field in his Phillies career before. You started Rojas in center field as well, so you had the defensive backup there, if need be. Here's my issue. JT Realmuto was your DH tonight.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever, you know.
It is what it is.
You're also starting Marchand at catcher.
Yeah.
But if the whole plan this year was to get JT off of his feet and off of, you know, catching duties more throughout the year to keep him fresher. Why is he DHing? And you're using both of your lone 2 catchers on the roster. And here's my thing. And tell me if I'm crazy here, because I felt like all off season I was taking crazy pills, like quietly believing this, but also wanting to hold out hope. And I'm still holding out hope because I think he has shown flashes, but a lot of people online were telling me that Rafael Marchand was like the second coming of Christ himself at the catcher position. And I tweeted this tonight. Like he's so good. He's next man up. You know, when JT hangs it up, Marchand's gonna be the guy. He's the backup catcher. He's so much better than Garrett Stubbs, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not saying one of he or Stubbs is better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, and I brought this up on Monday's show, I'm pretty sure, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs put out a phenomenal video of showing you how Garrett Stubbs manages a game and manages a pitcher, because Michael Mercado, who we've also seen pitch at the major league level, so he has experience with Garrett Stubbs, in a jam at Lehigh Valley. Garrett Stubbs goes out to the mound to talk to him. Mercado turns a double play. Very next pitch, or very next at bat, strikes the guy out to record a save for the Iron Pigs, and they get a win.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that people don't recognize that Garrett Stubbs does really well. And I'm not saying Marchand doesn't either, but Marchand has shown me next to nothing so far to start this year. As another run comes across,
oh, good
here's my issue with, you know, if you want to start JT at DH and play Marchand, do it when Luzardo is pitching. Do it when Taiwan is pitching.
Yep.
To have Rafael Marchand start at catcher when Aaron Nola is on the mound,
that's insane,
is lunacy to me.
Yes. That's it. It's ridiculous. You should, when you have your ace on the mound, one of your aces on the mound, Aaron Nola, who's worked with JT Realmuto for years, you want to keep the guy he's comfortable with behind the bump. You wouldn't put someone that Steve Carlton wasn't familiar behind the plate. Like, keep who you know the pitcher works well with behind the bump, and good things will happen. He's Nola's worked with Marchand how many times? Is this the first time working with Marchand?
It's a great question, because I don't remember all too many times that they have worked together.
Yeah, you need Realmuto to go and be catcher for Wheeler, for Nola, for guys like that. And then you could bring in Marchand for the Luzardo and the Taiwan and everyone else. But it's lunacy. And I'm a big Garrett Stubbs guy. I think he's a damn good catcher, and he's a very good glue guy. So to say that Marchand is better than Stubbs when we've seen almost nothing out of Marchand is ridiculous.
And, like, do I think Rafael Marchand has shown flashes? Yes.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, man. I'm looking at his stats this year, and I know it's very limited time that he has played, but he's played in 4 games. I don't know if this is including tonight or not, so I apologize here on that accuracy. But he's had 12 plate appearances, 8 at-bats that were official. He's walked 4 times this year. 3 of them were in 1 game, and that was the Thursday finale that I was at against the Colorado Rockies. That was the best plate approach I've seen from him in a long time, was that game. Marchand is hitting 125, Harrison.
Good gracious.
His on-base percentage is .417, and he's slugging 125. So his batting average and his slugging percentage are the same. His OPS is a .542.
Oh, my God.
I mean, for comparison's sake, do I pull up Garrett Stubbs' numbers this year in the minors?
I think you should.
I know it's the minors, but
you know, still.
Garrett Stubbs this season. Let's see. Let me go to the Iron Pigs website. Garrett Stubbs roster. Stubbs. Garrett Stubbs is hitting 258. His on-base percentage is 410. He has an 829 OPS. He's got 1 home run in 31 at-bats, 8 hits, scored 5 runs. I don't know, man. I know roster flexibility, like, because Stubbs had the minor league option and everything, but I don't know, man. Marshawn is not doing much for me to start this season. The Phillies will head to the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing 11-4. This bullpen, though, is a real issue.
It is. It's
a real issue.
It's a major step down from last year.
And, like, the Phillies have 3 guys, in my opinion, in the bullpen right now that are, like, reliable.
Mm-hmm.
It's Alvarado, Strom, and Kerkering.
Yeah, I'd say those are the 3 guys.
Like,
you see what Matt Strom did today?
So good. We'll definitely talk about that. That was amazing. Like, Jordan Romano has had a rocky start to his Phillies career, but it feels like there was a mechanic.
Very mildly.
Yeah, it feels like there was a mechanic thing that they also discovered there with his pitching and everything. So hopefully that figures some things out. Joe Ross has been really bad.
Dookie.
And, like, I like Joe Ross, but he's been really bad.
Yeah.
And was just really bad in this top of the 7th inning as well. He's got a 7.71 ERA, and I don't know if that includes tonight.
I don't think they'd update the stats that fast.
He's been fucking terrible. Tanner Banks is like a quadruple A reliever. Carlos Hernandez has been horrid since coming over from the Royals. He's got a 9 ERA in 4 games. And Jose Ruiz has been catastrophically bad compared to last year. Like, last year, like, he's your mop-up guy. So, like, I'm not expecting, a 1.50 ERA. He had a 3.71 ERA in 52 games last year.
It's not bad.
He's, in 8 games, got a 7.11 ERA.
Man, maybe he should go get some coffee if at his local 7-Eleven to fix his ERA.
Yeah,
maybe a nice little white monster or something.
It has been bad. The fact that they really only have 3 reliable guys in the bullpen right now is tough.
And they're not getting the run support that they need in order to go into their bullpen and lock down a game. So either we're screwed on both ends.
Right. The other issue here is that, like, I know it's early, but I feel like for the bullpen, you got to look and see who's down at AAA and who's on the 40-man and who you can get up into this bullpen.
I agree. We're getting to the point where it's definitely time to look at Reading and trying to figure out who needs to come up. I think
bring up Max Lazar, bring up Griff McGarry, bring up somebody. Like, it's getting to the point where, like, I am terrified when the bullpen is called upon and it's not Kerkering, Strom, or Alvarado.
And not just the bullpen either. I'd start looking at AAA in order to bring up Crawford at this point. I think it's time.
I get that sentiment. I just don't know if it's time. Like, it's still very early in his AAA career.
Mm-hmm. But what, he's batting 330 around that right now?
And, like, you want to see him do that for, like, multiple months, in my opinion, in the minors. Like, he is 64 at-bats right now. He's got 16 hits, so he's hitting 250, 7 RBI, 5 stolen bases. His on-base plus slugging percentage is only .632.
Okay.
So I want to see him continue to play there, obviously, and just continue to develop and, like, not rush him up simply for, the sake of rushing a guy up. But, like, why is Cody Clemens not playing? I also feel like Bryson Stott is getting wrongly grouped into the struggles of the Marsh and the Bohm and stuff like that. Why is, and I'll say this again, I'm the biggest Alec Bohm fan you'll ever meet. Like,
Yeah.
we have been Alec Bohm guys. He just got a raw end of a deal again on a strike called.
The ump's been rough this series.
So bad. But why is Bryson Stott continually getting benched in games? And I know, like, lefty righty matchups, whatever, but like, why is Sosa not playing for Bohm a little bit more?
That's the question.
Why is Sosa playing for Stott more than he is for Bohm?
Add that to the list of bright spots on the Phillies. Edmundo Sosa has been incredible. He should be getting starting opportunities more frequently. And I agree, it shouldn't be at the expense of Stott, because Stott hasn't been bad in the sense that Bohm and Marsh have been bad. But
Right.
I think you sit down. I think you have to sit down Bohm for a game, 2, 3, let him get his head right and start Sosa in his place so that he knows there's a very real threat to his position and that it's time to get out of his slump.
Yeah.
But things have got to change. Something's got to change.
It's been rough, and it's one of those things, like, you can't rely on Schwarber and Nick, as Cody Clemens is now in the game. Like, you can't rely on two guys to be providing offense. And I know Harper's starting to swing the bat a little bit better, which will help, obviously.
Yeah.
But there also hasn't been, like, a consistent fluidity to the lineup this year either. And, like, I'm fine with Topper, like, messing around with the lineup and, like, trying to find the best equation of guys to throw out there 1 through 9. But, like, there has not been a single – I don't think there's been a single back-to-back game where the lineup has been the same.
No. It just feels like Topper's tinkering with the lineup, and it's at a little too much, and it's at the detriment of some of the players, especially after we have a good game, and then all of a sudden the lineup's changed again, and that throws everybody off the rhythm.
And I know it's like part of having to change the lineup up so much is because Bohm is struggling. Like, typically, Bohm is going to be behind Harper as the lefty-righty type of situation, and then that allows you to have Schwarber play, hit leadoff and, have a leadoff Schwarbomb type situation. But it's tough, and when you have multiple guys struggling the way that they are, it's painful to watch.
It is.
And I just don't know what you do to fix it. And it's April 16th. I get it's extremely early, in the logistics of baseball time. The Phillies are on their way to 10-8, but they're a half game out of first place. The Mets are 11-7. The Phillies are 10-7.
Yeah.
You're also playing against a very good Giants team, and you're seeing what happens when you play against teams that are consistently on base, string at bats together. You end up being 12-5. But the inconsistencies with this team right now are tough, but it is funny that I believe it was Matt Gelb tweeted this yesterday. I want to find this tweet because it is very funny how, like, people are overreacting to a degree, because last year the same people who were up in arms, yes, it was Matt Gelb. The same people who were up in arms last year that the Philly at the conclusion of the year that were up in arms about, they started too hot and then they fizzled out.
Yep.
Right. That was a whole debate as the season progressed after the All-Star break. Harrison, so the 2025 Phillies, this year's Phillies, right now as a team are hitting a triple slash line of 236, 326, 373, 15 home runs, and they've scored 64 runs.
Yep.
The 2024 National League East champion 95-game winning Phillies through 16 games hit a triple slash line of 234, 310, 354, 16 home runs, 58 runs scored.
Okay.
So a across the board worst triple slash line last year through
Yeah.
16 games. One more home run than they have this year through 16 games. And 8 less runs than they have right now through 16 games.
And to be fair, the early season Phils last year had us all tearing our hair out. So I do think that they'll figure it out eventually, but
I agree.
It's hard to watch right now.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's April, and it's one of those things where like the casual Phillies fans are what are pissing me off mostly, and I brought this up on Monday's show too, and like the fan policing is just way out of fucking control. But it's tough when typically this time of year for the past, 7 years now, minus this year, we've had the basketball team to alleviate April baseball being a tough watch. We've had gearing up for the NBA playoffs, that kind of hope for the 76ers as the playoffs were, right around the corner. We were gearing up for that since 2018, which was 4 years prior to the Phillies even making the playoffs for the first time, in this era. So that's also a tough hit. It was also just an overall tough winter in terms of sports schedule, not including football, because obviously that's a fall starting sport. But in terms of the sports that are categorized as the winter sports with basketball and hockey, it was a tough go for Philadelphia in those categories.
Yeah.
So you didn't have anything to kind of like counteract. So the buildup from the highest of highs of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl to season ends, you're now in the pits of hell with the Flyers and the Sixers.
Yeah.
When if you were smart, you openly knew that the Flyer season was going to be tough.
Yep.
But nobody expected the Sixers season to be what it was this year. Like that was just out of left field. No pun intended as we talk about the Phillies.
I expected the Sixers to be, a 5, 6, 7 ranked team in the East, but a collapse like this was unprecedented. I was talking about it yesterday with a couple buddies at the bar, but like this Sixers team might be worse than the process era Sixers we suffered through years back, because at least there was hope. At least we had.
This was like a purgatory season of just hell.
Awful.
This was like the Odyssey.
Yep. Except he's stuck in the sea of monsters and can't escape, and will never escape.
Monsters. You have homie on the rock just getting his liver eaten out by a crow.
Oh yeah, the Prometheus.
Yeah, like that was this Sixers season was the Prometheus season.
Yeah, or oh god, what's the guy who pushes the rock up the hill and always for it to just it starts with a T, don't it?
It was Sisyphus.
Sisyphus, yeah. No, I was thinking of Tantalus, who was stuck in the pool where he can't drink the water and always skirts away from him, and the fruit's always out of reach. That's what the Sixers season felt like.
Isn't it bad that we can just compare this Sixers season to every horrendous Greek myth ever?
Yeah. It's real bad. It's real bad.
Like,
we've got a good old evil Zeus up top with Josh Harris, because he ain't the Zeus from Hercules. He's the Disney Hercules. He's the Zeus from the traditional Greek stories.
Yeah.
Which, no bueno.
It's been rough. So you have that, and then just the excitement and the hype around the Phillies, and you also had a lot of people who were just downplaying the season and just hoping, like the weirdos and the cretins of Philadelphia sports fandom, as Carlos Hernandez gets shafted by a ball 4 call.
Great.
That were just like hoping on the Phillies' downfall because they ran it back. Newsflash, you big dumb dipshits. They had no other choice but to run it back. This was always going to be, as my good pal Tyler Zulli from PHLY said, this was always going to be, and we talked about it on this show, this was always going to be a relatively quiet offseason for the Phillies. They were not going to make a splash move. They were not going to, break the bank for another player. Guess what, you morons out there who don't realize it? Bryce Harper makes a shit ton of money. Granted, the contract looks amazing now compared to when he signed it because everyone else is getting paid. But Bryce Harper makes a lot of money. Nick Castellanos makes a lot of money. JT Realmuto makes a lot of money. Kyle Schwarber makes a lot of money. Trey Turner makes a lot of money. Zach Wheeler makes a lot of money. Aaron Nola makes a lot of money. Let's see who else. The list goes on and on. The Phillies have a lot of high-paid players on this team. And what was one thing that stood out there, Harrison? Oh, that's right. A majority of those guys are position players.
Yep.
Those guys have to perform. It's not just continually putting expensive Band-Aids over top of seasons past blemishes and being like, oh, look, we fixed it because we went and signed, Cody Bellinger, or we went and signed this guy in free agency. No, the Phillies have been doing that since 2019, quite frankly, since 2018, when they signed Jake Arrieta to that massive contract. That was the first signal to being like, okay, the Phillies are done developing and doing this whole rebuild era. It's spend money era. And then the very next year, Bryce Harper is here. And that kickstarts everybody coming to Philadelphia. You can only spend so much money before the luxury tax kicks in. And I know there's no salary cap in baseball, but guess what? If you want to have the amenities at Citizens Bank Park, you want to have the ticket prices be what they relatively are, which compared to some other stadiums are pretty solid. You want to have the experience at Citizens Bank Park. You need to be able to stay under the luxury tax threshold, and you need to be able to have the guys that you've paid the boatloads of money to show up when it counts. And guess what? It's on them now. It's on Bryce Harper. It's on Nick Castellanos. It's on JT Realmuto. It's on Trey Turner. It's on Kyle Schwarber. It's on Alec Boehm. It's on Brandon Marsh. It's on Johan Rojas. It's on Bryson Stott. It's on all of these guys to collectively show up as a team when it matters now. It's not go spend more and more money. We are done spending money for the most part right now as the Phillies. Will the trade deadline roll around? Absolutely. Will they still make moves and sign guys? Yes. But you're not going to see the Phillies unless there is a cataclysmic type of player that will shake up. Obviously Juan Soto was out there, but you're not outbidding the Mets. They basically have an unlimited pool of money with Steve Cohen. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
You have guys here. It's on those guys to perform. And right now, a lot of those guys are not performing. And was it potentially a mistake to let Jeff Hoffman walk in free agency? It's looking more and more like that. But at the end of the day, when there's talk about a potential failed physical, when he signed a contract with the Orioles and then it got flagged, Jeff Hoffman will be like 34 years old by the time that contract with the Blue Jays is up. I'm not saying it was the right move, but in the long term, it could end up being the right move. Now, did they do enough to supplement losing Jeff Hoffman this offseason in the bullpen? No, absolutely not. I wanted them to add another bullpen pitcher to this team. I wanted them to, get a guy like a Griff McGarry or something to be ready for this bullpen to start the year. Picking up Carlos Hernandez before the season started, nice little piece, but not the type of move that should have been the end-all, be-all in the bullpen. Is it unfortunate that Ranger Suarez got hurt to start the year and then Taijuan Walker is kind of forced from being a long man in the bullpen? Sure, but Taijuan, outside of one blow-up inning against the Giants this week, relatively good to start the year. Yeah. And I don't know, again, I'll say it until I'm red in the face, it's early. It's April 16th. People are up in arms, freaking out like this is September baseball right now, and the Phillies are like fighting for their lives to get into the playoffs. There's still a lot of baseball to be played. And do I have concerns in some spots? Absolutely. Do I think a lot of those concerns can be figured out? Absolutely. Is it something that every goddamn fucking game we need to go out and yell at the heavens that the Phillies are struggling, that the Phillies are slumping, that you need to start Edmundo Sosa over Alec Bohm, that you need to start Rojas over Marsh, which again is an ancillary move at this point. No, like you screaming, kicking, and yelling like a toddler online about the Philly struggles is not going to fix the Philly struggles.
Yep. It is what it is. The Phillies and the fan base, they're both in hell right now.
Yeah, it's tough. Before I keep yapping about the Phils, and we have another series upcoming, but we do have another game tomorrow against the Giants. Want to talk to you guys about our awesome pals over at 47 brand, guys. You already know. I'm rocking 47 right now. If you're watching on the YouTube, you know. I keep them things on me. 47 brand is my go-to hat of choice. Genuinely just like the best hats in the game. I've been wearing 47 brand for decades, and the quality of the hats is second to none. The style and fit of the hats is second to none. This is the Hitch style that I'm wearing right now. It's my go-to style. Like, I love the Hitch style. Like, I love the Hitch style so much, Harris. I got the Phillies. You know, I got a ton of Phillies hats and everything. I've got the Brighton and Hove Albion Hitch style straight from Brighton.
Woo.
I'm repping one of my favorite new sports leagues, the TGL, in the Hitch style. Like, I love the Hitch style of hats. They're truly so comfortable. I wear them all the time. You guys can do the same. Use our link in the description. Shop everything 47 brand has to offer. And Harrison, I forget if I showed this to you last episode that we recorded. 47 brand's got this incredible new capsule. It is the NHL Past Champs Tabloid Hitch style hat. Okay, there is a Flyers one. It's got the Stanley Cup as a patch on the side of the hat. It's the 1974 Flyers. It says 1974 Stanley Cup Champs ! Flyers logo. They have a ton of teams: Red Wings, Bruins, Blackhawks, Islanders, Canadiens, Maple Leafs, and Oilers. But the Flyers one is obviously the best. So they look cool. But what makes these hats unique? You look on the inside of the hat. This part of the hat right here. If you're watching on the YouTube, like in here, okay, it has the newspaper write-up of when the Flyers won the Stanley Cup. Inside the hat.
Oh, that's incredible.
Inside the hat. It says Philadelphia Flyers win 1974 Stanley Cup. Very funny that the headline says Gritty Showdown. And it has the write-up of the newspaper article about the Flyers winning the 1974 Stanley Cup on the inside of the hat. It is gorgeous. I have it in my cart right now. I cannot wait to purchase that bad boy. You guys can do the same. Use our link in the description. Shop everything 47 brand has to offer. And you get free shipping on all orders when you create an account and join the 47 family today. So create an account, get free shipping on all orders when you use our link in the description and shop with our friends at 47 brand. And we thank 47 brand for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia, baby. It's so sick, right?
That is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
So dope. But yeah, the Phillies have one more game after this one, which it's shaping up they're going to lose as they trail 11-4 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. One more game on Thursday against the San Francisco Giants. Just split the series.
Please, for the love of God.
Split the series is all I'm asking. You win Tuesday's game 6-4. Harper hits a home run. He hits another home run tonight. So good sign of Harper starting to heat up a little bit, which is good. The concerning part of this series has been like tonight and game 1, you've given up 10 plus runs. Like that's concerning to me. 4:05 start for tomorrow's game. Who is the pitching matchup? I think it's Sanchez, if I'm not mistaken, that will be on the mound on Thursday afternoon for the Phils. It will be, yes, Christopher Sanchez against Jordan Hicks. A winnable game. Jordan Hicks, 5.87 ERA, beatable pitcher. You should have won this game too. Robbie Ray was horrendous to start this game. Just split the series, walk away with a split, and then you have the Marlins coming to town, who have been like decent. They're 8-8, like they're 500. They're not good. They are one of the worst constructed rosters in baseball. You gotta win at least 2 out of 3 against that team.
Yep. And if you don't, it's an utter failure.
Like you have that. The Mets lost today, so it sucks that you're losing today because you could have pulled pretty much even in the division. The Mets host the Cardinals for a 4-game series starting tomorrow. And then the Mets welcome the Phillies to town to start the week next week. So big series here in April against the Mets upcoming, but they're playing the Cardinals for 4. You finish up with the Giants tomorrow, and then you have the Marlins. This is a prime opportunity for you to take advantage of the division a little bit more and, try to pull even going into a 3-game set against the Mets at Citi Field. First time playing them since the postseason debacle of a series that you had last year. But you should be able to finish this homestand no worse than 4-3.
Okay.
Is that ideal? No. You wanted to go at least 5-2, in my opinion, in this homestand. You still can, but at the very worst, 4-3, which means you split the series with the Giants and you take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. That's got to be bare minimum in this one is a 4-3 homestand before you go on the road to play the Mets. And who is after the Mets for the Phillies to start the month of May? Or no, it's the end of April. You go to Chicago, and the Cubs have been very good to start this season. So you're at New York, and then you go to Chicago for the weekend before you come back home to play the Nationals, another series that you should win before the Diamondbacks come to town. Then they go to Tampa Bay. Well, they go to the Yankees minor league facility. Then you go to Cleveland, and then you come home to play the Cardinals and the Pirates. Then you go to Colorado to play the horrendous Colorado Rockies. Then you go to wherever the hell the A's are playing. And then the Braves come to town for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. I think
there's a lot of winnable series and winnable games upcoming, but you have to take advantage of some of these games right now and figure out a lot before Memorial Day rolls around. Like you got to figure out some of these hitting woes and some of these pitching woes in the bullpen before it turns into a real problem as the season progresses.
Yeah. Just knock out the wins against the easier opponents and then go forward and hope that they figure their shit out. Because if they don't, it's going to be a long season ahead.
It is going to be a long season, and hopefully it's a long season for a positive reason rather than negative.
Yep.
Speaking of positive and negative, though, shall we get to the NL East and MLB run differentials?
Let's do it.
It's brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, if you want to stand out in the crowd, you're going to Citizens Bank Park. You're going to a bar, hanging out with your friends, your family, whatever it may be. You want to stand out in the crowd, look your best with PHI Apparel Company with their unique designs for all. There's no doubt in our minds you will stand out in the crowd. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND. You'll get 10% off your next merch order from our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Plus, they are the official home to all Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast merch. So get your shirts and your hoodies at phiapparel.co. It's linked in the description as well. and use code Underground at checkout to get 10% off your next merch order. Stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia, and that is PHI Apparel Company. Let's get to these run differentials, Harrison. And guys, if you know, when Harrison's on the show, I make him guess the run differentials for the NL East.
Yep.
Which is always a doozy. And it's not going to be fun when the Phillies fall to the negatives after this game, but this is prior to this game ending, so it will not count towards their current run differential. We'll start with the first place New York Mets at 11-7. Harrison, do you want their runs scored or runs against?
I'll take the runs scored.
Their runs scored are 72, which is the second most in the division.
72. I'm going to say they're at a plus 13.
They are at a plus 20.
God damn.
Plus 20. They've only surrendered 52 runs. They've scored 72. So they're at a plus 20, which is the best run differential in the division by far.
Yeah.
We go to the 10-7 second place Philadelphia Phillies. Would you like their runs scored or runs against?
Against.
Their runs against, not including Wednesday night's game. I'm just going off of what MLB.com is showing me right now. So I don't know if it includes Wednesday's game or not, but I'm assuming it doesn't. Their runs against is 67, which is the second fewest in the division, just behind the aforementioned New York Mets.
Okay. Say plus 7?
Plus 3.
Ugh.
And after tonight's game, if this score stands, they will be at a minus 4. They've scored 70, given up 67, not including tonight's game. So tough scene. Tough scene. We go to the 8-9 Miami Marlins.
Give me their scored.
They have scored 71 runs, which is more than the Phillies. Granted, this does not include today's Phillies game, so we are not there just yet.
Okay, if they scored 71, let's say plus 2.
They have scored 71. They've given up 87, which is the second most in the division for a negative 16 run differential.
Way off. Okay.
The most Marlins thing ever.
Haley. She's pushing her water cup up.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Oh, that's going to be fun to clean up later. God damn it, cat. Nice little intermission caused by chaos from a cat.
Put it on a shirt. Chaos from a cat. Bars. So yeah, the Marlins at a negative 16. The Washington Nationals, who are 7-11.
Give me their runs against.
Runs against 96, the most in the division by a decent margin.
Let's say minus 17.
So close. Minus 19.
Damn.
They've scored 77 runs, which is the most in the division, but they've also given up the most runs in the division at 96 for a negative 19. And then we go to the 5-13 Atlanta Braves.
That does bring a smile to my face. Give me their runs against.
They have given up 78 runs, which is the third most in the division.
Give me minus 11.
They are the aforementioned minus 17. They've scored 61 runs.
Oh, my brain shut off. I should have said that.
Which is the fewest runs scored in the division, but they've given up 78 for a negative 17. And now we'll go around the National League. The Cubs have the second best run differential in the National League. They've scored 124 runs, which is the most runs in the division, in the entire National League, pardon me. They've given up 88, but they have a plus 36 run differential. The Milwaukee Brewers are in second place, still trying to recover from the torpedo bat debacle against the Yankees. They've scored 92 runs, but they've given up 94, so they sit at a negative 2 run differential. The Cincinnati Reds are 9-9. They've scored 73. They've given up 60, so they have a plus 13 run differential. The St. Louis Cardinals are also 9-9. They've scored 94 runs. They've given up 84 for a plus 10 run differential. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates are 7-12. They've scored just 66 runs on the year. They've given up 85, so they have a negative 19 run differential. We go to the most competitive 4 out of 5 team division in baseball, and that is the NL West. The 15-4 San Diego Padres have a plus 37 run differential, which is the best in the National League. They've scored 88, given up 51. The San Francisco Giants, not including tonight's game, they're 12-5. They've scored 89 runs, given up 62. They have a plus 27 run differential. The Los Angeles Dodgers are 13-6. They've scored 85, given up 79. They have a plus 6 run differential. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 11-7. They've scored 98 runs, given up 78 for a plus 20. And then the 3-14 Colorado Rockies.
Good Lord.
They have scored 45 runs on the year. They have given up 95 and have a negative 50 run differential.
Good Lord.
Which, Harrison, also to calculate here, they've played 17 games. So we take that 95 runs against, divide that by 17, multiply that by 162. They're still well off the mark of 1,000 runs surrendered. So we're going to need them to start giving up some more runs there. Okay, pals? Okay, let's figure it out. We go to the American League. The Yankees have a plus 23 run differential. They've scored 103 runs so far this year. The Toronto Blue Jays have a plus 4 run differential. The Boston Red Sox are 10-10, but they have a negative 11 run differential. The Tampa Bay Rays have a plus 14 run differential, and the Baltimore Orioles have a negative 1 run differential. The Tigers have a plus 14 run differential. The Guardians have a negative 7 run differential. Both the Royals and Twins have negative 13 run differentials, and the Chicago White Sox have a negative 12 run differential. But the funniest part is the Chicago White Sox have given up the fewest runs in their division at 65. The most negative division in all of baseball is the American League West. The Texas Rangers are 10-7, but they have a negative 15 run differential. They're 10-7 and have only scored 55 runs on the year.
Good Lord.
But they've surrendered 70, and yet they're 3 games over 500. The LA Angels, they're 9-7, but they have a negative 7 run differential. The Seattle Mariners are 9-9. They have a negative 6 run differential. The Houston Astros are 8-10. They have a negative 4 run differential. And the Oakland A's, yes, the Oakland A's are 7-10, and they have a negative 15 run differential. They've given up 92 runs on the year, which is the second most in all baseball, just behind, or no, it's not actually, I stand corrected. The Washington Nationals have given up the most runs in baseball so far, 96. So, or no, I stand corrected again. It's the Boston Red Sox at 97. Wow. The Red Sox at 97 have given up the most runs in baseball this year. Wow. So there is the NL East and MLB run differentials for you, brought to you by PHI Apparel Company. And now we head over to everybody's favorite new statistical category, award watch season for the Platinum Plunk. The Platinum Plunk, if you are new to the podcast, is our fun way of keeping track of the most obscure stat in all of baseball, and that is the hit by pitch category, because it doesn't get classified as a ball for either the pitcher or the hitter, but you take one for the team, and that means you're a big team guy. So, Harrison, I have the team standings here. We have a new leader in the clubhouse. Since I recorded on Sunday night into Monday, we have a new leader. And that is a team that has found themselves, since we've been keeping track of the Platinum Plunk, towards the top of the standings a whole hell of a lot. And that is the Minnesota Twins. They've been hit by a league-leading 13 pitches.
Wow, 13?
13 pitches. And the Twins have played, for reference, 19 games. So they're just off the mark, but they are very close to averaging a hit by pitch per game, which is crazy. The New York Yankees and Seattle Mariners, the Mariners last year's champion of the Platinum Plunk for the team award, they are tied with 11. The Angels and Dodgers are in lockstep. They've both been hit by 10 pitches apiece. And then we have a big old cluster here for 9, and that's the Chicago Cubs, the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Mets, and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Baltimore Orioles, Houston Astros, Kansas City Royals, and Milwaukee Brewers have all been hit by 8 pitches.
Damn.
The league average is 7, and 7 is also the number of pitches that the Arizona Diamondbacks, Cleveland Guardians, Colorado Rockies, and Detroit Tigers have been hit by. We also have the 6 category, and it's the number of the beast because just 3 teams have been hit by 6 pitches. 666. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the Texas Rangers, and the Washington Nationals. 5 pitches belongs to the Boston Red Sox, Miami Marlins, St. Louis Cardinals. 4 pitches belongs to the Atlanta Braves, all by themselves. The San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, and the Tampa Bay Rays have all been hit by 3 pitches as the Phillies have officially lost 11-4 to the San Francisco Giants. The Phillies are all by themselves as the only team who have been hit by 2 pitches, and those 2 pitches belong to Kyle Schwarber. The Oakland A's and Chicago White Sox sit at 1 per team. So there's your team leads. Your player leads. I think since the last time we recorded, this player together, I should say, added himself to the league lead in the National League. Joining Starling Marte with 4 is Blake Dunn from the Cincinnati Reds, their left fielder. So they've both been hit by 4, which is the league lead overall, not just National League, but Major League. And then the American League lead is a 4-way tie with 3. That is Will Castro from the Minnesota Twins, Ty France, from the Minnesota Twins, Adolis Garcia, and Jorge Soler.
Okay.
4-way tie for the American League lead. And then, like I mentioned, Kyle Schwarber is the Phillies team leader. And we'll be giving out monthly awards, too, just like they do player awards and everything. Monthly winners will be kept in the database as well this season for the first time. So there's your Platinum Plunk. It is brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Use that Kenny Finder. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, guys, as always, please drink responsibly. Harrison, pretty cool stuff came out today. About QB1.
I did see this news. This was pretty big news for QB1.
QB1 doing the damn thing. Named to Time Magazine's 100 most influential people of 2025.
I mean, when you beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl and do a hell of a job doing it, it makes sense that you're in that list.
And I think the crazy part is a lot of people, and I'm going to bring it up here. I don't care. Spike Eskin made himself look like an absolute buffoon on the internet by tweeting the following tweet here. Because if you don't recognize that Jalen Hurts being named to the Time 100 most influential people list extends far more than what he did on the football field, you simply just don't pay attention to how influential Jalen Hurts truly is.
Absolutely.
So Spike Eskin tweeted this morning, Jalen Hurts played a great NFC Championship game and Super Bowl, but he is not even close to one of the 100 most influential people in the world.
You're telling me the guy who has an all-female HR staff and staff around him, his agents, everything around that, you're telling me he's not influential? So he's changing the game.
You have that, obviously. What he does for Philadelphia public schools by giving back to put air conditioning in those schools so these kids aren't dying of heat stroke, during the school year, pretty influential. What you see him doing with the Jalen Hurts Foundation just across the board, pretty influential.
Just a little bit.
And, you know, just seeing the way that Jordan Brand has embraced Jalen as essentially the next face of the company from the male side of things. And you have people like Michael Jordan, like Derek Jeter, like Tom Brady, like Peyton Manning.
Massive names.
Talking about how incredible of an athlete and a person Jalen Hurts is remarkable.
They're quite literally fawning over Jalen Hurts. And you're telling me he's not influential?
It's
Grow
crazy
up.
to me.
Yeah.
So I have the full list here of the top 100 if you'd like to hear the entire list.
I would.
So here's the list. This is the artists category. It includes Ed Sheeran, Daniel Day Kim, Adam Scott, Diego Luna, Kristen Wiig, Danielle Deadweiler, Miranda July, Mohammed Rasuloff, Yoshitomo Nara, Scarlett Johansson, Kristen Bell, Rashida Jones, Nicole Scherzinger, Willie Chavaria, Hosier, Brandon Jacobs Jenkins, and Annabelle Seldorf.
I don't know a lot of those people, but I recognize some names.
The icons list. Demi Moore.
Yep.
Adrian Brody.
Checks out.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Okay.
David Muir. Bobby Brown. Yoshiki. Leon Marchand, the French swimmer from the Olympics who was taken under Michael Phelps's wing. Fatu Balde. Amy Griffin. Anthony D. Romero. Raquel Willis. Angeline Murray-Mira. Giselle Pelicott. And Jalen Hurts.
There we go.
The leaders category. Now, this one is insane, but the leaders category. Keir Starmer, the crazy orange man in the White House.
Yep.
The crazy space boy who thinks he lives in the White House. Howard Lutnick, the big dumb dipshit that broke the national championship trophy at the White House. Frederick Mayers, Lee Jae Myung, the big dumb dipshit who thinks that if you have autism, you can't play baseball.
What?
Did you not see that quote today?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he said that if you have autism, it's going to prevent you from playing baseball. And
that's insane.
Yeah, RFK Jr., baby. Duma Boko. What a moron. Duma Boko, Javier Milei, Mo Abudu, apologies there. Ahmed Al-Shara, Noah Argamani, Russell Vogt, Andrea Vidoir, Teresa Ribera, Megan Kelly, Reshma Kelwar Ramani, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Apologies here for some of the mispronunciations. Muhammad Yunus, Maria Corina Machado, and Claudia Sheinbaum.
She's the president of Mexico, isn't she?
Yes. The Titans category. Serena Williams, Blake Lively, Simone Biles, Miuccia Prada, Ted Sarandos, Lisa Sue, Bonnie E. Chan, Jonathan Greenblatt, Stephen J. Squarey, Alex Karp, Mark Zuckerberg, Joe Rogan, Percival Everett, Doug McMillan, Lorne Michaels, and Ed Bastian.
Very interesting list.
Pioneers. Demis Hassabis, Andrew Forrest, Brianna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier. Dario Amode, Cordelia Barr, Liang Wenfeng, Thomas Seelhar and Wesley Sundquist, Allison Sesso, Julie Burkhart, Miles Smith, Robin Wall Kimmerer, Robert Montgomery, and Rose. And then the innovators, Snoop Dogg, Ma Yan Song, Kwame Onwuachi, Micheline Thomas, Wendy Friedman, Chutatip Nok, Suntaranon, Ismahain Aluafi, Tim Cadogan, Richard Thompson, Sky Perriman, Christian Happy, Josh Koskov, John M. Chu, Sandra Diaz, Larry Fink, and Nikki Glazer.
Good.
So to put it lightly, Jalen Hurts is one of like 7 athletes that were put onto the list.
Yeah, and it seems like he was one of the very few that were solely in American sports too.
It was Jalen Hurts. It was Leon Marchand. It was Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Breonna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier for the WNBA.
Yep.
There was one more too. Let me find.
So of that list, he is the only male American sport playing athlete. Because I would say Leon Marchand, Simone Biles, and Serena Williams, those are all international games.
Yes.
So it just goes to show how influential he is on the United States as a whole.
Pretty influential, if I do say so myself.
Patrick Mahomes not even make the list?
Nope.
Big dumb dipshit.
I do want to find, because I think John Clark tweeted it here. Where is this at? Great podcasting here.
Oh yeah.
It was, here we go. Yeah, so it was Jalen Hurts, Serena Williams, Simone Biles, Breonna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and Leon Marchand. 6 athletes.
6 athletes. All right.
And Jalen was the only male American athlete to be named to the list.
What a dude. What a dude.
Pretty good. And did you see who wrote? Did you see who wrote his the write up for it?
No, who did it?
Derek Jeter.
Damn.
Obviously, both Jordan athletes. But this is what Derek Jeter wrote in Time magazine about Jalen Hurts. I admire how great athletes deal with both success and failure. What Jalen Hurts went through in being benched during the 2018 National Championship game would break a lot of people down, but not Jalen. He focused on what he could control and found a new path to success. In the NFL, Jalen didn't let a Super Bowl defeat in 2023 shake his confidence. He used that loss as motivation and kept a picture of himself walking off the field after losing his phone lock screen. This past February, Jalen found himself on the Super Bowl stage again. This time, he led Philadelphia to a convincing victory in its rematch with Kansas City. We connected shortly after, and the only thing he asked about was insight on going back and winning again. Sometimes people win, then exhale. Jalen is not exhaling. He's embracing the next challenge. Win or lose, Jalen's resilience and determination offer all of us something to admire. Derek Jeter in Time magazine.
It's a great write-up for him.
Pretty influential, if I do say so myself.
Yep, just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
I think it's so cool that Jalen got named because it's one of those things that I think a lot of people get blinded by the fact that so many people try to tear Jalen Hurts down for the way he plays the game, where he's not putting up these monstrous stats every single week like some of the other quarterbacks in the NFL. And they try to like diminish his value, but then they also don't recognize what he does off the field and how influential he is on the community, not only in Philadelphia, but in his home in Houston, and things he does to just help continue growing the next generation. And I think Jalen Hurts is truly like the epitome of what you would want as somebody who is influencing and being, somebody that so many people look up to. And I don't think there is truly anyone more deserving on that list. And obviously so many people are deserving that are on that list, including that entire list of athletes that were named to this year's list. But Jalen being named, and it's not even like, it's fascinating that he was put in the icons category as well. And I'm not going to try to fool everyone and say I'm the most knowledgeable about how Time goes about their 100 most influential people, but I think it's pretty telling that Jalen Hurts is the lone athlete in the icons category.
Yeah. It's because he is just iconic. He's him. And just a great guy.
But yeah, shout out to QB1. Fully deserved, and it was really cool to like wake up and see that news. Very, very cool. Before we do keep it pushing here, I want to talk to everybody about our friends over at Devereux Golf. We love Devereux here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. We have the Truist Championship coming up in like 2.5 weeks. It's crazy that it's crept up this quickly, but very excited to be there, obviously. And we're going to be rocking Devereux all week long at the Truist Championship. It's truly my new favorite golf brand. I continually survey their website for just new things that I need to add to my wardrobe for when I go out, whether it be on the regular golf course or the mini golf course. Devereux is truly the best. It is my aesthetic to a T. Check out everything Devereux has on their website and use our link in the description to shop Devereux. And when you go to check out your first order, they're going to hook you up with 15% off with code WELCOME15. That's code WELCOME15 for 15% off from our friends at Devereux when you use our link in the description. And you're going to see me and Stevie Mac rocking Devereux all week long at the Truist Championship in that first week of May. So stay tuned for that. But shout out to Devereux. We love Devereux here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. One small touch here before I let Harrison go on about WrestleMania weekend. It's kind of crazy that we had the final sporting event under the name Wells Fargo Center happen this week.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Wells Fargo is withdrawing their sponsorship. This came out, I think, last summer or early like fall.
Oh, I must have forgotten about this.
So yeah, the Flyers' last game at home was the last sporting event under the Wells Fargo Center sponsorship name.
What are they going to change it to?
I have been on the train since this news came out, just by looking at how things have kind of, rolled out sponsorship wise in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Fully convinced it's going to either be center or arena. It's going to be IBX for Independence Blue Cross.
Oh, that checks out. Yeah, I could see the IBX Center being
or IBX Arena, like
IBX Arena. They should bring back the Wachovia Center, even though Wachovia is not a thing anymore.
Somebody said they should just go back to the First Union Center. So then you have the FU Center.
Or just call it the Spectrum again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
But I am fully convinced it's going to be the IBX Arena or IBX Center.
Yep. So, shall we get into WrestleMania?
RIP to the Wells Fargo Center for sporting events. Let's have a moment of silence here. Thank you.
All right.
Let's get into WrestleMania weekend. It's brought to you by our friends over at FOCO. We love FOCO here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. They provide the best in terms of collectibles, merchandise, and apparel for your favorite sports teams. They have a whole wrestling WWE category as well, so definitely check that out. Use our link in the description. Shop everything with FOCO, and when you go to check out, you're gonna get you're helping us when you use that link in the description to shop and check out with your order at FOCO. So use our link, shop everything at FOCO. And Harris and I wore the short alls on opening day, and they are comfy as all get out. So get your short alls, your overalls, get your WWE merchandise. It's all available at FOCO. Use the link in the description, and shout out to FOCO for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Harrison, talk to me. Talk dirty to me about wrestling. Tell me what's going on in Vegas other than Pat Pitts running amok out in Sin City like an absolute demon. Let me know what should we all be looking forward to, the casuals, the hardcores of the wrestling world. Obviously John Cena and Cody Rhodes is going to be the big ticket item, which I'm sure you will talk extensively about. But what should we know about WrestleMania 41 after last year's WrestleMania felt like Avengers Endgame?
So living up to the expectations set by last year is going to take a lot. But I do think that the matches on the card this year can do it. For non-title matches that I think are going to be a whole lot of fun, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, who is definitely not Chad Gable, should be a hell of a match. They're both outstanding in-ring workers. I mean, Rey Mysterio is one of the greatest to ever do it, and Chad Gable is an Olympic athlete. I'm sorry, El Grande Americano. But they should put on a great show. Jade Cargill and Naomi should be a fun one, especially because the hatred that's been building up over the last few months. In storyline, Naomi took out Jade Cargill, put her on the sideline for 6-7 months, stole her women's tag team title, and it's all setting up for that one to be just a whole bunch of hatred. Talking about the big non-title matches, though, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in a Sin City street fight. I just combined all the words into one there. McIntyre. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest are two of the best workers on the roster right now, and having their match be a street fight means it's going to be a whole lot of violence and nothing but that for 15 to 20 minutes. AJ Styles and Logan Paul should maybe steal the show, because as much as I hate Logan Paul, the dude can wrestle. I have to give it to him. And obviously, the big non-title match is going to be Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, main eventing night one. That match is going to be insane. I have a feeling that Paul Heyman will cost both Roman Reigns and CM Punk, the two men he has worked with closely, the match, and turn on both of them in favor of Seth Rollins, which I think would be very compelling storytelling. But moving on from those, we're going to get into the title matches here. Starting with the tag team title matches, the one with the least amount of buzz around it is the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar, versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. The Raw tag titles really just feel like they have nothing going for them. I'm going to say the New Day wins just because they're the more established tag team.
The Raw tag team. Harrison, take me out to dinner first.
Oh, whoa. Yeah. No, but that match is going to be a good match, but there's not much story build behind it. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the women's tag team title between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who are the current champions, versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria should be a fun match. I'm interested to see how Bayley and Valkyria are going to play off of each other just because they are currently feuding for the women's Intercontinental title. And I wish we could see either the women's US or women's Intercontinental title being defended on this card, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I expect Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to retain, as the Judgment Day, the faction they are a part of, will have a massive weekend this weekend. And Bayley and Valkyria will set up for more battles for the Intercontinental title going down the line. Speaking of the Judgment Day, we got to talk about the men's Intercontinental title match, which is Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Two members of the Judgment Day and Finn Balor and Dom Mysterio. I think Dom Mysterio wins it. I think he pins Finn Balor, and they officially wind up breaking up the Judgment Day, and it's going to be nothing but fun in that one. Moving on to the men's U.S. title, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. I love LA Knight, man. He's not winning that title. He's not retaining. This is going to be Jacob Fatu's shining moment. He's been one of the best workers on the roster for the last couple months. Ever since he debuted, he's just been a workhorse, and he's been terrifying while doing it. You don't want to hear his music hit if you're going to face up against him. This is what pushes him into mainstream success, and I fear that LA Knight is going to be utterly demolished. But moving on from that, we get into the big titles here. I'm going to start with the men's World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso is not walking out of WrestleMania without that title. He is absolutely winning on Saturday, as he deserves. The storyline has set him up in a way that makes him even more sympathetic than he already is. The whole crowd's going to be eating with him as he walks down to the ring. And I think he could put in one of the best performances he's ever given. He's a very underrated wrestler. People always just look at the super kicks and the splash and be like, oh, he's got 5 moves. John Cena had 5 moves for like 20 years and no one batted an eye. He's charismatic. He's got the in-ring skill, and I think that he will be beating the living hell out of Gunther and then celebrating with his twin brother, who people couldn't tell him apart from for the past 10 years. But now he's finally made a name for himself, and he will be World Heavyweight Champion. Now, for the Women's Championship between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, I really, really, really hope that Tiffany Stratton wins. She should win. But since it's Charlotte Flair, and she is the woman you think of when it comes to modern-day women's wrestling, it's probably going to be her who walks out as champion, which is a damn shame because I think Tiffany is going to be the next big face of women's wrestling in the WWE. And a win over Charlotte Flair would really cement her in that position. But it just doesn't feel like it's going to go that way. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley is going to tear the house down on Sunday night for the WWE Women's Heavyweight World Championship. And I think Bianca Belair wins. The way that her storyline's been set up, she should be the right one to take it off of Io Sky. I think you need to do a couple of very interesting storylines with Rhea Ripley away from the Women's World Championship. I think she deserves a couple good stories where there's no title involved, because she is truly the face of the roster right now, men's and women's. She's just that big. And deservedly so. She's a great in-ring worker. She's got the charisma. She's got everything you need to be a top star. But she's been involved in the world title picture for so long that I think a nice break away from that would be good for her. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair and the Io Sky should be at the forefront of the world title picture as of right now. They've both put in phenomenal matches over the past couple months, and they are supremely talented. So a feud between the two of them would be nothing but fun going over the next couple months. But you need Bianca to win on Sunday in order for that feud to go on. And I think that's what they're going to do. But let's talk about the match everybody's invested in. And that would be when Cody Rhodes versus the man nobody can see, John Cena. And there's no way in hell that John Cena loses on Sunday. There's going to be some shenanigans involved. I'm pretty sure The Rock's going to get involved. It's going to be messy. It's going to be action-packed. And John Cena is just going to give the biggest middle finger to the WWE Universe and walk out of WrestleMania with his record-breaking 17th World Championship. And that is how I see the weekend going down.
So I just pulled this up. No free ads, but Sportsbook Review has WrestleMania 41 odds. And I think this is just from their perspective because there are no odds on WWE. So the singles match, they have Jade Cargill at minus 600 over Naomi at plus 350. Rey Mysterio's at minus 150 versus El Americano Grande at plus 110.
He's going to get unmasked, and it's not going to be Chad Gable, and we're all going to look like dumbasses.
Drew McIntyre's minus 1,000 against Damian Priest, who's at plus 500. Logan Paul is minus 300 against AJ Styles at plus 200. Jacob Fatu is minus 550 against LA Knight, who is plus 325. Dominic Mysterio in the Intercontinental Championship is minus 250. Penta is plus 150. Braun Breaker's plus 300. Finn Balor's plus 700.
Funny that Finn Balor is the longest odds, even though he's been in the business for the longest. But it is definitely going to come down to Penta or Dom, because they're going to push Braun Breaker into the world title picture.
The Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair and Tiff Stratton are even Steven odds to pick them, minus 120 for both.
Yeah, I couldn't decide. My heart says Tiff, my head says Charlotte.
The World Heavyweight Championship, Jey Uso's minus 600 to Gunther's plus 350. The Women's World Championship, Bianca Belair is minus 150. Is it Io Sky?
Io Sky, yep.
She's plus 100, and then Rhea Ripley's plus 200. Triple Threat, CM Punk is minus 300. Roman Reigns plus 200. Seth Rollins plus 175.
I say Seth Rollins wins that. It's going to be a heel turn by our good friend Paul Heyman.
And then John Cena in the undisputed WWE Championship is minus 200 to Cody Rhodes plus 150.
Yeah, that checks out.
So yeah, what surprises is the Paul Heyman turn the surprise of the weekend for you?
I think that's the surprise, but as of right now, Randy Orton has no match, so
he's just slithering down the aisle.
Yeah, he could get some big returner to face him, because you can't have WrestleMania without Randy Orton when he's healthy. Oh my God, what if they do Randy Orton versus Stone Cold Steve Austin?
What?
I drank a beer. What? Because he said he's going to be in town for the weekend. But I could see Randy Orton facing off against either Solo Sikoa or, if we want to be real fun, a returning Rusev or a returning Aleister Black. Those would all be fun. Or he just faces off against SmackDown GM Nick Aldis, and that would be a great match too.
Here's the real question.
Yes.
Does WrestleMania 41 live up to the insanity that was WrestleMania 40?
I think it's going to be a great show, don't get me wrong, but nothing can top what happened last year. That was the culmination of about 10 years worth of wrestling storylines.
Yeah, like last year, like I was like obviously to and froming Pat Pitts to Lincoln Financial Field and like following along on social media, and that's kind of what I've done with wrestling. Like I'm not, if you know me, I'm not a wrestling fan. I genuinely have paid attention over the past couple of years simply because Pat McAfee has been in the wrestling world.
Yeah.
So like I very, very, very casually like pay attention, and like sometimes Pitts will like retweet or like post stuff, so then it gets in my algorithm and I'll see it. But like last year, WrestleMania felt like Avengers Endgame, like I mentioned. Like it was every single moment had something. Like Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson were in WrestleMania. Like The Undertaker comes out of nowhere at WrestleMania. Like you had so much that genuinely felt like Marvel. And Pitts, whenever he tried to speak WrestleMania to me when he was co-hosting the show, like last year's like build up and the past like build up that led to WrestleMania 40 was like building up to Avengers Endgame pretty much. And he compared it like to like almost Marvel for me to like understand it. Now it feels like WWE is in a better place than Marvel was post Endgame, but it does feel like post Endgame.
Yes, it's nowhere near as bad as how Marvel got post Endgame, but it's not the same as it was prior to WrestleMania last year, but it's still in the best spot they've been in about 10, 15 years. This is better than the PG era. I never lived through the Attitude Era, but I have to assume this is what fans of the Attitude Era felt like towards wrestling. Being a fan of wrestling is cool again. And they're helping their case every single week by putting on good show after good show after good show. And will they drop a stinker of a Monday Night Raw or a stinker of a SmackDown every now and again? Yes. But for the most part, everything is good right now in the WWE world. I don't want to talk about the other wrestling brand because they don't really matter.
What would be surprising to you if it happened? That's not like the status quo per se from what you broke down potentially with like winners and everything like that. What would kind of be a shocker if it happened?
A shock to me would be, well, the biggest shock would be John Cena not winning. But if we want to get like something fun here, it would have to be like an NXT call-up making an appearance at WrestleMania, considering they're having their own event, but say like Trick Williams or Obafemi or someone along those lines makes an appearance and helps someone during a match. I think that would be the biggest shock.
Now, I'm going to make an out-of-pocket, non-real wrestling fan prediction here. What if John Cena's heel turn, full-on costume garb is truly revealed at WrestleMania and it's just Peacemaker?
Okay, no, I would change that to the entire. I would love that. I would love that. What I'm hoping though is that he comes out to like his basic Thugonomics era, or like just something different. I don't want him coming out to his standard theme song. I don't want him coming out to The Time Is Now. I want him to come out to something different. So,
and say Cena wins. Everything goes according to what the script feels like it's going to be. Where does Cody Rhodes, Philadelphia champion Cody Rhodes, go from here?
I think he starts to derail a little bit. I think people have been hoping for a heel turn out of Cody Rhodes for a couple of years now. They want him to turn into Homelander from The Boys. I think we start sowing the seeds for Homelander Cody after this loss. I think John Cena leans fully into the heel persona, but then there are seeds planted that he is the one who's going to turn good again at the end. And then Cody beats him at, I don't know, SummerSlam or something. And then John Cena makes his face turn by going to shake Cody's hand and be like, you know what, you bested me, whatever. Or maybe after SummerSlam, they have their rubber match where the seeds have been planted. John Cena is finally turning back into a face. Cody Rhodes is turning into a heel. Cody Rhodes beats Cena to retain. And then, John Cena goes to shake his hand, and then Cody kicks him in the balls, much in the same way that John did after Elimination Chamber, cementing the face and heel turn for both of them.
And then on top of that, because obviously all of this got kickstarted with The Rock and John Cena and Travis Scott, the most obscure side character, side quest, not named Shabuzi of all time. Number one, does Travis Scott show up at WrestleMania? Absolutely. Number two, where does The Rock come into this formula at WrestleMania? Because I feel like it would be a cataclysmic miss for The Rock to not make an appearance one way or another.
So what I think Rock makes the final 3 counts. I think the referee gets knocked out of the ring, put out of commission. John Cena hits Cody Rhodes with the attitude adjustment. or locks him into the STF. And then you see The Rock running down, and with his authority, he's got a referee shirt on. He makes the 1, 2, 3, raises John Cena's hand, and that's how there are going to be shenanigans going down. That's all I'll say.
Now, as a non-traditional like wrestling fan per se, would it be out of pocket if like some like to make the Marvel comparison again, if like some sort of like Civil War-esque type thing happens in this WrestleMania, where like you get the factions of I'm going Team Cody, I'm going Team Cena?
It's not going to happen at WrestleMania, but it might happen at Survivor Series.
Or like the seeds get planted for that at WrestleMania of some sort.
Seeds get planted, yes. But
Like
Survivor Series.
Randy Orton is the Spider-Man of Civil War.
No, Randy Orton
thwipping down the aisle.
He is Vision. He is the powerhouse who just comes in and says, "Enough, I'm here."
Knocks Jey Uso down from the sky like he's Rhodey.
Yeah, I can see that. But no, they'll probably plant the seeds for Survivor Series. I hope they don't do War Games this year. I hope they do the traditional tag match. Because they've done War Games the last 2-3 years. I think it's time to go back to the traditional Survivor Series tag match.
Okay, last thing here too with the Civil War portion before I let you put the bow here on WrestleMania. Who would be the WrestleMania like WWE Civil War factions of this current era of what's going on? Like Team Cody, Team Cena. That's obviously Iron Man and Cap.
Yep.
Who's on which team? And obviously it's not like Sokovia Accords, but it's just like wrestling factions of what's going on in the WWE. Who's on which team?
This is a tough one because I don't think people really want to be aligned with The Rock per se. But Cody Rhodes has definitely burned his bridges too.
Oh, I burnt my britches.
No, so I'm gonna say on Team Cody, as of right now,
which I'll say Cody's probably Team Cap.
He's Team Cap, and he's probably the team full of baby faces. So I'm gonna say Team Cody would probably have Randy Orton. It would probably have LA Knight, Jey Uso, CM Punk, and probably Seth Rollins, but he wouldn't get along with Sami Zayn instead of Seth Rollins. I don't think Seth Rollins gets involved. And then Team Cena, you'd have to put The Rock on Team Cena. Then I'd go
Travis Scott.
Probably Gunther. And with Gunther, you would then get what's his name? I'm blanking on his faction, his stablemate's name. You'd probably get Karrion Kross just because he's a little shit and loves to get his hands dirty. But it's hard for people to team with Cena just because they wouldn't want to be on his side making history this way. But I'd say those are the teams.
Very, very interesting. All going down in Sin City. I might have to call Pat Pitts on Sunday before everything and be like, yo, give me the fucking rundown. What's the fucking vibes out there, bro? I did text him as we were going through this, and I said, minute or hour 14 mark on the pod. Harrison breaks down WrestleMania. So he's going to give it a listen. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating. It's also interesting because I was like getting like my memories from last year. It's like later this year WrestleMania is than it was last year.
Yep.
It's like 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And it's going to be fun. WrestleMania is always a special event. It's the marquee event of the WWE and wrestling year in general. I don't want to hear anything about AEW All Out. It is WrestleMania, and it will always be WrestleMania. So it's just going to be fun. I don't think it lives up to last year, but I think it does its own thing. And it'll probably be one of the better WrestleManias of the past 10 years. So,
But it's not beating Philadelphia, baby. That's for
No.
damn sure.
WrestleMania 40, I think, goes down as one of the best WrestleManias of all time. I think the only one that might have it beat is I think it was WrestleMania 19 where Rock and Stone Cold went head to head, and you had the Limp Bizkit hype track behind that. I think
Yeah.
that's the one of all time.
It's gonna be fascinating.
Shout out Limp Bizkit. How can you hate on Limp? They're goated. They're goated.
It's all about the he said, she said bullshit.
You got to keep rolling.
WrestleMania this weekend gonna be a doozy. Make sure you're following Pat Pitts because he's out in Sin City like a maniac, and I can't wait to see what he captures out there. It's gonna be wild. That's all we got for you guys on this one. Make sure you're following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week, full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. Get us to 1,100 subscribers. Let's make that happen. youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. And if you want to leave us a voicemail about the Phils, the Birds, Flyers, Sixers, Union, Wings, Water Dogs, or WrestleMania, or anything just going on in Philly, speakpipe.com/Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave us a voicemail. It's like AJ Brown. It's always open. So leave us a voicemail. Speakpipe.com/Underground Sports Philadelphia. And this show is proudly presented by the city of Vineland. Guys, whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process, and their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. It's been episode number 734. Phils, let's get it together. Jalen Hurts is him. WrestleMania preview edition of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Harrison, I'm KB. I'll catch you guys on Monday, breaking down the rest of this Giant series, all of the Marlins series. Sarah and I will be at the bank on Sunday, so stay tuned for live coverage from the series finale against the Marlins with Sarah and myself. And we will hopefully be back to our winning ways with the Fightins by the time I talk to you guys next. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here, and we're signing off. Peace.